Hello everyone, and welcome to a new episode of LostinTranslationmon. This time we're covering Digimon Ghost Game, episode 11, Kai Mai Taichi. I'm May, and I'm joined by the lovely Quinn.
Hi.
And of course the equally lovely Chloe.
Hello.
Before we get into the discussion, let's go over the synopsis. So this time, Repamon's tail wants to show everyone how sharp it is, but Repamon doesn't want it to hurt people. And this is kind of coming across as like this giant storm that's just randomly hitting, and it's them fighting. And by them, I mean the Repamon is arguing and fighting with its tail that wants to kill people, which, you know, it happens every day. Then we have a side plot of Angoramon leaving during the night, and Ruri not knowing where he is, wondering where he's going to, and kind of wants to know where he is. And she's kind of hurt that he's not telling her. And then the episode ends with Angoramon saying that he goes to a secret meeting for Digimon, and he invites Repamon along to slice the lemons for their tea. And then Ruri realises that Angoramon doesn't need to share everything with her, and they can have secrets between them. Now that we're done with the synopsis and the overall introductions, let's dive into the discussions. What were our highlights this week?
I guess if we're gonna do a kind of heavy-handed morality play, at least the lesson is pretty good. Like, just talk about your feelings is pretty good advice to give small children and also most adults I've ever met.
Oh yeah, there's definitely like a lot. It is. I think kids know to talk about their feelings, but I feel like as adults we kind of unlearn it almost. Like I know there's a lot of adults that I've come across that just don't talk about how they're feeling, and that does lead to misunderstandings. Okay. They just bottle up everything. Like, I mean, I have never had a thought that I didn't immediately share, so I can't relate to people who bottle things up and just don't talk about things. I love Twitter because I can, and Discord, and having everything, and the ability to share my immediate, stupid, inane thoughts that come into my head just within like 5 seconds on my phone. Like, that is really great, because as a kid, I would just blurt stuff out. Like, I would have a thought and just immediately go, "Oh, I have to share this," and I do that now, and that's just who I am. Like, I don't tend to keep. I don't have any secrets. I don't have anything that I haven't immediately told someone. So I can't really relate. But there are a lot of people who don't talk about their feelings. And while it wasn't like... It was still one being in this episode, but it was still like, I guess, two conscious entities that were arguing. But... Just because. It's a good lesson.
Yeah. I definitely think it could have been twins or siblings or something instead, and accomplished the lesson a little better.
Yeah, it was interesting. Like, it's a thing that actually happens to cats, so that's kind of neat, I guess, at least. But, yeah.
You should just get those cats to slice lemons.
I guess, yeah.
When life gives you lemons, slice them, and don't argue with your tail or something.
Yeah, I agree that it was a bit of a ham-fisted metaphor, but I liked it. Yeah, it was a good lesson.
I also liked that while it was sort of another "hey, let's talk it out" episode, it actually came with a solution, and that solution was, "Hey, do you want to go cut the lemons for this meeting of secret Digimon?" Yeah, like, that is so much better than just like, "Hey, Knife Tail, cutting people bad, stop it." And then the Knife Tail going, "Oh, okay," and then stopping. Like, actually giving a solution to the problem of, "Hey, this knife wants to cut things. Let's instead of having it cut people, let's give it something that it can cut." Like, that seems like a lot better than just going up and just telling it that it's done wrong. I like that we're giving it a solution.
I have to admit, I am intrigued by the little bit of backstory they teased for Ruri. Until proven otherwise, I am asserting that she's trans and is just alluding to that there.
Wait, what is this backstory?
Oh, she's like, "Oh, I used to be like that. I wouldn't, talk to people about my feelings and stuff." I'm like, "Yep, until proven otherwise, that's Ruri just obliquely talking about time before she came out."
Otherwise, what if it's Ruri saying that she used to fight with her Knife Tail?
I mean, I would be a little bit down if it was she used to fight with her other personality that she, just has and it hasn't come up yet, but that would be...
It would make for a
place
weird
to go
bend,
with the
yeah.
season.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be a weird place to go, yeah.
I did actually kind of like, though, that in this episode we had, a Digimon with two consciousnesses, but, like, we didn't go into unreliable narrator territory for it.
Yeah.
No. And I also liked how it's conflict between the one of the Chosen and their partner Digimon. I always like when they do that, and it felt more realistic.
I don't remember Ruri's Digimon's name offhand.
Angoramon.
I appreciate that Angoramon is an adult who, is dealing with a child and is aware of that.
Yeah, even though Angoramon is a child-level Digimon, yeah, Angoramon is a lot more mature than a quote-unquote child Digimon usually is.
And
Gamamon is baby.
But I like that relationship between them, and that's kind of neat.
It's a different dynamic.
I also got to give it to them. They did not immediately rush to Ruri's evolution this episode.
Yeah, I was surprised.
Yeah, I was surprised. I thought that it would just be... I mean, I was hoping that it wouldn't be. I was hoping that we got some more character between the two, and also a little bit of a breather since we just got an evolution episode last week. And it's nice when we just sort of have a bit of a break between evolution episodes and pad it out. But honestly, I was surprised that we didn't go straight for the evolution. There was an evolution in this episode. Also, Chaos Gamamon has handles that pop out of his back.
I love it.
That was unexpected.
Oh, I love it so much.
That's pretty great.
But it makes me think that Gamamon is just an engineered Digimon. Because when in actual existence would a character just have handles, except for I guess Submarimon.
I was gonna say,
but
when in actual existence would you have nipples that turn into rockets that shoot out?
You mean you don't have that?
Am I the weird one?
Look, we saving up for that surgery, okay?
Yep.
The nipple missile surgery. This is my
That's
Indiegogo for my surgery.
Is that not what we're all talking about when we talked about the surgery?
Yeah. What did you mean?
But
we can't let the cis know that that's what we mean by the surgery.
The surgery. Nope, we just become Digimon. But anyway, I don't know, I had a lot of highlights. I really liked this episode in general. I don't know why, I'm just really enjoying Ghost Game, and I felt that this episode was a great, unique way to have a Mon of the Week in multiple ways. It was one Digimon, but with two consciousness, and we had a conflict between a Chosen and their partner, and of course the fact that the solution was actually given, it wasn't just talked out. And then there was the fact that, I mean, maybe I'm thinking too far ahead, or maybe I'm just, grasping at straws here, but with Hero, we had another moment of him potentially just being a doormat and setting up him to have his kindness towards people maybe taken advantage of. Ruri invites him out just to listen to him and then leaves. And then he looks so annoyed that that was it. He just they hang out, but only for Ruri to talk about her problems, and then she just goes to hang out with her friends, and Hiro just looks so annoyed.
It was pretty great.
It's a very relatable situation. I've been in a situation where people have only used me to, I guess, listen to their problems, and then they go to hang out with their other friends who they don't talk to their problems with.
Yeah.
I feel bad for Hiro, and I hope that they're just building on something. I think it was the Halloween episode, Hiro was kind of helping out and kind of doing everything for Ruri that she asked. So I'm wondering if we're going down a path of maybe Hiro snaps, and we get a dark evolution because Hiro snaps.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
I could see that. I'd be pleasantly surprised if that happens. Yeah,
they're definitely... It seems that they're setting something up there, or maybe it's just meant to be a comedic thing, ha ha ha, look at Hiro, Rui left him as soon as she was done, isn't that funny? I hope it's not just that. I hope it is actually setting up the fact that Hiro is a little bit of a doormat because he's so kind.
Perhaps, yeah. The vibe I kind of...
I guess I
go
sort
ahead.
of hope that we end up, having to talk about that Jellymon is just, really tearing Kiyoshiro down constantly.
On my highlights list, I have Jellymon giving Kiyoshiro a bondage kink at 5:38.
No, nah, I'm good, thanks. I mean, I did like the fact that Jellymon's like, I want a camera, and Kiyoshiro's like, my phone takes cameras, and Jellymon's like, no, an actual camera. Like, that's cute.
That's a mood.
Yep.
And I was surprised, because I didn't actually know that you're not meant to shake Polaroids until we got a Polaroid camera. And my partner was like, no, you're not meant to shake it. And he said exactly what Angoramon said.
Yep.
And I'm just like, oh, I guess that's a thing. Like, you're not actually meant to shake it like a Polaroid picture. That's a myth.
Yep.
Is the shaking it what gives it its sort of like unique look though?
I don't know. I mean, we've got Polaroids that come out still looking like Polaroids.
Okay. My dad had a Polaroid camera back when I was a kid, so it's been probably 20 years since I've last interacted with a Polaroid, but I remember them being fun, and it did seem very on brand for Ruri to be doing like the neo-retro Polaroid thing. Like, it was excellent.
And has no idea how to, like...
Yep. Well, exactly, yeah, it was pretty on brand. Also...
Yeah, and Hiro says they're terrible.
Yeah. Hiro deserved to be left hanging because of that one, in my opinion.
No, he was honest.
I know.
Yeah, but there's honest and there's honest. There's...
But also, Ruri's outfits this episode were fire. They were so good.
I don't know if we've mentioned this so far in our coverage of Ghost Game, but I absolutely love the fact that these characters wear different clothes.
Oh my god, yes. That's one of my favorite things about Cardcaptor Sakura, and I just love every anime that does that.
I mean, I can't actually think of that many. I mean, maybe more adult shows, but in kids shows, they don't change. I think the Weekenders I really liked, because the Weekenders had them wear different clothes every single day. And that was kind of like how you knew that there was different days that were happening. And I thought that was neato. But not many shows do that, where characters can have
it's just
outfits.
So much more difficult to actually.
Well, yeah, because
different models.
Well, and here I was gonna say it's because if they're not wearing the same outfit every single week, how are you gonna remember who's who?
Yeah, that too.
It's just way more work to design a new outfit.
I'm sure there's several reasons.
Did it.
Sure,
they put more work into it.
Very doable, but you have to care enough to make like 30 good outfits instead of one okay outfit.
Yeah, like I can't remember the cast in. I know Adventure Column, they were in the digital world a lot of the time, but when they went home, they didn't really change their clothes.
Nope.
Like, I don't know. I really like when characters change clothes, and I like they have different outfits that are still like make them recognizable as that character. And I like how Hero's just got different versions of pink hoodie and blue jacket that he wears over the hoodie. Like, I love him.
The show's very trans.
Oh, and also, I think, is it Kiyoshiro's jacket that I love, that he's worn a few times? It's like
the super tattered looking one?
I never watched it, but what was that other character that had the characters from Cardcaptor Sakura in, but in a different universe? Tsubasa, was it called?
Tsubasa Chronicle.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure one of the characters had a cloak like that.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's the most anime thing, and I hate how much I want one. Yeah,
it was pretty good.
Like, I love every single one of these chosen in this series so far. Like, I love them all. I love all three of them. They're just so precious.
Yeah. Kiyoshiro definitely could have just not been in this episode, I think. But also, I appreciated him being around and just being an adorable, useless herb the whole time. Yeah, it was like, I was not upset that Kiyoshiro was in the episode despite not really doing anything for the plot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely like Kiyoshiro being involved for no reason a lot more than I like it when Hiro is involved for no reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do we have any other highlights?
I liked Kiyoshiro's future Vive, because that was definitely a Vive controller he was holding, but the headset looked pretty sick. So I'm looking forward to that future. Get on it, HTC.
Yeah, the Vive was a good machine. I'm sad that it didn't get more of the market share than Facebook was going to allow.
Yeah.
So I guess low light time, because I don't actually have any low lights.
I have a few.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
So I guess my first one is kind of just being a little nitpicky, because while I don't think the animation quality's ever really hit like bad in the show, this one was another one where I just kind of kept noticing every now and again how it definitely has been a dip in quality from the first episode. Which definitely, like, it's not a surprise. It happens with pretty much every animated show that I've seen, at least, like, aimed towards a younger audience. But, like, especially, there was just, like, one moment where they had Kaus Gamamon do the little, like, radial translate across the screen over the bamboo forest at, like, I wrote down the timestamp because it was so bad. At 16:58, it just looked awful. So that's a minor one. It also kind of bugged me that even though it was a Ruri episode and Angoromon seemed to be doing more or less fine in the combat, we still had to have Hiro come save the day and actually win the fight because he's Hiro.
I mean, it wasn't really a fight that much.
Yeah, but
Well, breaking up the combat, you know?
yeah.
Pinning the... Then, like, why couldn't Angoromon have just done that on his own, you know? I think I would have liked it a little better if that had been the case, but that's just me.
Well, at least, I mean, Angoromon's still a child-level Digimon, and Chaos Gamamon is an adult, so there's definitely an increase in strength there, so I'm not too mad about it,
causality
because...
will absolutely cover for that, and other than establishing that, you know, Heroes and Gamamon's mood affects what evolution you get, like, that wasn't an important part of the episode.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I agree that we could have just done without Gamamon being in the fight.
Yeah.
I'm just glad we got to see that he had handles, to be honest. I thought that was pretty cool.
I did like that Gamamon became Charles the butler from Neo Yokio, and that was just an excellent moment.
Wrong.
Yeah, no, when when Hiro stepped on to Chaos Gamamon and they flew off, I could just not get Vivaldi's concerto in was it A-flat major? Whichever one. The song that plays in Neo Yokio out of my head. It was just, yeah.
Good song.
Yeah, I still haven't watched it, so...
Oh, it's really good. You should watch it. It's only 6 episodes.
That is a tragedy.
Okay, I'll watch it, because I had to finish something that was...
You have to.
The Christmas special. We need to
Okay, if it's Christmas, I will watch it,
yeah.
because I had to finish something that was leaving Netflix at the end of the month. So, but now I've just finished that yesterday, and now I can watch bigger and better things, which I guess is Neo Yokio.
It's
but
the
anyway,
best 3 hours of television. But anyhow,
oh, it's only 3 hours. Geez, okay, I'll watch it tonight unless Brady wants to watch something. But yeah. Any other lowlights? Because honestly, I do not have any.
So I've said my 2 little ones. I do have a relatively large lowlight, but I feel like I might be kind of in the... I might be overblowing it potentially based off of what y'all have said. But so I can't really help but be bothered that the only reason the conflict between Ruri and Angoromon happened is because literally there's a rule to keep the gatherings a secret from humans. Like, even...
It was very contrived, and that was going to be the one that I mentioned next as well, is that the first rule of T-Club is don't talk about T-Club. Yeah,
like, even even our Monster of the Week was shocked when Ruri said, "Oh, you're a Digimon?" So, like... If the goal is to keep the existence of Digimon a secret, I think that's already been accomplished. So, like, if a human already knows about Digimon, why bother keeping it a secret? And also, I feel like Ruri was not 100%, but like 98% completely in the right in this whole thing.
By and large.
And, like... I feel like she shouldn't have been the one saying in the end, from now on I'm going to be more considerate of your feelings, you know? Like, she just got ghosted by her Digimon buddy for the reason of because we say we don't talk about this. And she was getting worried about it. And the whole resolution is that she apologizes to Angoromon, not vice versa.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, Angoromon did apologize.
He does have one line saying, "I'm sorry for hiding the gathering from you," but that's all.
Yeah.
While Ruri's out there giving the actual apology. And I definitely get that it's like, you know, yes, you don't have to share 100% of your lives with each other. Like, that's totally valid. But also, I feel like in this case, definitely on Angoromon for not communicating.
Yeah. If nothing else, if you're going to insist that there's this very important rule that we hide the tea party, like, can you A, establish that at some point before the ending, and B, tell me why.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, and like I know contrived buddy arguments aren't like exactly anything new to Digimon, but this one in particular just felt really flimsy and frustrating to me because it seemed like the lesson they were trying to give everyone at the end was that that Ruri was the one in the wrong, when I disagree pretty strongly with that.
Look, a lot of when we've ever had Digimon and partner human conflicts, they've all been kind of annoying and kind of just sort of either solved far too quickly or they were caused by something that seemed very minor, and this is probably the best conflict that they've done between a human and their partner Digimon, and that's how bad they tend to be. Like every
fair.
conflict is just like Digimon gets jealous of their partner being very friendly with an obviously evil Digimon. That happens twice.
Yep.
Digimon randomly running away from their human partner and having a tantrum. That happens 3 times.
Yep.
So they're never really good or original reasons.
Yeah, and I guess
this one I think is the best.
Without the historical context, I can definitely believe that this is one of the better ones that they've done, but it still bothered me.
I get that.
It definitely is, and it's a really weird way to just conclude the episode. I keep being struck by them having a really strong start to an episode that just kind of peters out when they need it to.
And it's definitely a case of just they're trying to fit too much into too short of a time frame, I think. Yeah. And it just sucks. Yeah. But
it's the reverse of it took 2 hours to write, so I assumed it would take 2 hours to read.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, another minor lowlight that I forgot to mention earlier is that it's episode 11, and I still roll my eyes every time someone gets a little splash screen with a flash of inspiration and says a technique name.
I love that. I actually think that's really cute. It makes it seem so much more connected, like the connection between the human and the Digimon partner. It just... I don't know, I love it.
It seem like the Digimon don't know what their attacks are.
Yes, exactly. It's like they're waiting for the person to remind them what they can do before they do it, and it's just weird.
It's very Mega Man EXE. I need Len to give me the chip so that I can do that thing that is my only job.
Mm-hmm.
Or just like Pokemon, when you call out it's kind of like a mix between Pokemon and Mega Man, I guess, but I absolutely adore the calling out of attacks and that like little it is a flash of inspiration. I don't know why, I just really love it. I just can't work it out, but I just think that it's just so fun. I guess it's because it's also something that's unique. Like it feels that no other series of Digimon has really done that.
Where is that?
And I like that.
That's fair. It feels silly to me to think that these kids are like better fighters than the Digimon on their own would be.
Oh yeah, it's silly, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just easily impressed, and that's what I think I'm learning.
A little more involved than they typically are.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, I guess. Yeah.
Because there is a lot of just have the child stand at the back, and then we ask why no one's attacking them. So at least this is, a nudge in the right direction.
That's fair. Okay.
I got the feeling that it was a feature of the Vital Bracelet because it's connected to their heart, because it's got a heart rate monitor. It makes them more connected. Like, I was under the impression that was the mechanic for this Digivice.
I mean, I can see that, but then I feel like that raises some scary lore implications, because then does that mean that the Digimon don't have free will? You know,
I think
are they just
to find out that this is a two-way connection where Digimons and humans' feelings end up affecting each other, because that's
which has been done in Digimon before.
Yeah,
I'm sure it will be.
Death and has, I think, already pretty well been established, at very least, that Hero's emotions can affect Gamamon. Yeah,
Gamamon. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What about favorite character for this episode? Because mine was Angoramon, because I don't know, I just really like the idea of him going out to hang out with like Potamon and Floramon and Labramon who squeezes the lemons. I thought that was really cute, so I'm going to pick Angoramon for my favorite character. Chloe, who was yours?
Oh, Ruri hands down.
Yeah, I kind of assumed it was going to be Ruri, so that's why I didn't pick Ruri, because I feel like Quinn might also say Ruri, but Quinn,
yeah, Ruri,
you are?
too good. Just, other than the very end where she just kind of rolls over and apologizes to her neglectful partner, it was pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, see, I would pick Ruri as well, but I was just like, look, we can't. I gotta pick something that's not Ruri, and also I loved, I don't know, Angoramon Fluffy, and Angoramon has tea, and that just, it made me unreasonably happy just to see that happen.
In the first 80% of the episode, I like both of those characters very well.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I think we say that every week, just about, like, you know, the first 80% we like the characters. I think it's less than 80%. Yeah, I am getting that idea that, like, the episodes are really strong, and then and I feel like I know I said this last week, but I honestly feel like it's because they only have 20 minutes to solve an episode, and the start of the episode's so strong, but then when they're done being strong, they realize they only have like 2 minutes to wrap up the episode, and I feel like that's something that's going to continuously come up.
And that's really the weakness of doing this single episodic, everything has to be self-contained thing, because it turns out a lot of these stories were not meant to be told in 20 minutes while being boulderized.
Which, I mean, usually with Digimon we say, oh, this could have been a 10-minute episode, and that's what we said for a lot of Colin, is that, oh, this episode could have been 10 minutes. Yeah, and we've said that. So that's something that's very new to Digimon, because previously episodes have either fit really well in 20 minutes or have felt like they could have been less. Each episode could honestly be 40 minutes, and I feel like they would do a better job if each episode was 40 minutes. Yeah. And I don't think I've ever felt that way about a season of Digimon before. Usually the 20 minutes are either just enough or, too much.
Overstayed, yeah. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
So what about rating for this episode? Judging by after talking to y'all, I feel like I ranked this episode too high. I gave it another 5. I just really liked this episode. Again, it does have that problem of really strong start and then no idea how to finish it, but
actually, on that note, I was going to interject real quick and say I feel like this was actually one of the weaker starts of the series so far. It was just... Oh, really? I mean, it didn't seem as horror to me as many of the other ones have. It was just kind of like, there's an invisible Beyblade.
Invisible Beyblade.
Yeah.
Invisible Beyblade is a pretty good episode title.
Yeah, I was just thinking of that. That's Invisible Beyblade, the true horror. But, I see what you mean.
Like, it wasn't, again, it wasn't bad, but it was, I think, the weakest one we've seen thus far, at least that I can remember off the top of my head.
Come off as a horror episode to any meaningful degree, and I was fine with that.
Yeah.
A knife threatened murder.
That's
true. Spooky enough for me.
We had a sharp tail say that they were going to kill people.
Yeah, I'd be scared of that.
Yeah.
So, Chloe, what did you rate this episode?
So I think I'm going to give it a 3.5 in the end.
That is fair.
I did like the episode, but just the stuff I was talking about earlier bothered me enough that I can't really bring myself to raise it much higher than that.
No worries. I think that's perfectly reasonable. And Quinn?
For similar reasons, I'm gonna go with a 4.
That's fair. I'm going to stick at my 5 just because, I don't know, I like this episode. And as for rating, originally I put it at the top because I really did feel like it was a unique... Actually, no, I'm going to keep it at the top because I still feel like it's a unique premise in terms of the other episodes we've had this season. It had a unique solution of an actual solution. They didn't just talk it out. It felt like they actually went to fix a problem rather than just talking it out, which doesn't always work. Not every problem can be just... Like, talking can help, but some things do need an actual permanent solution, and we got one. So I'm going to put this at the very top because I liked this. It made me happy, and also I always adore seeing Digimon hanging out, just random Digimon just making an appearance. Like, we got to see Podmon again, and that is enough of a highlight for me. And I'm just going to quickly look at our overall scores before we go into y'all's ratings and rankings. So That gave it, with my 5, Chloe's 3.5, and Quinn's 4, that gave it a 12.5 out of whatever 5 plus 5 plus 5 is, 15. Yep, there we are. I did the quick maths. So that means that it is tied with episode 1. So did we like this episode more or less than episode 1?
Less.
Quinn?
I'm gonna also say less, yeah.
Okay, I would have said more, obviously, because I put it at the top, but we'll put it in less. So that means that in our overall ranking, it's in 6th place. Chloe, where would it go in your own individual ranking?
I'm putting it under episode 7. Between episode 7 and 10.
Under episode 7?
Yeah.
Okay, under episode 7, so that is in 9th place. And Quinn, where are we putting it?
4th place, right above episode 9.
4th place, right above episode 9. Okie dokie, so I guess it's
pretty
kind
strong
of...
episode.
Yeah, it's a strong episode, but I guess a lot of the episodes in the series have been strong episodes, so...
That's fair. I really appreciated,
yeah.
and as I was shouting, just talk about your feelings to the camera, Rory also did. You know, that's just me watching a lot of anime.
Yep.
That's very Appmon of... Appmon had that thing where whenever I said something, I felt like the characters immediately said it. Like, in one circumstance, Eri's like, Dokkan punch, and then kicks someone. And then I was like, that was a kick. And then a character, like, half a second afterwards says, hey, that was a kick. And I'm like, whoa. And it would consistently do that. Like,
remember the
in
one
episode
time that Eri had to give inputs for, I don't remember her.
the
Digimon?
fighting game.
Yeah. That was really good. And remember when she was into fighting games? That was really good. I wish.
don't.
Yeah, because Dokkamon was a fighting
Oh,
game
right.
character.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still love Atmon, but I honestly think that Ghost Game can dethrone Atmon.
Potentially.
Perhaps.
But I also said that once about Colin, so maybe I've just cursed the whole thing. So I'll just stop talking now.
Yeah.
What have you done?
Next segment time?
Yes, please.
Sure.
Okie dokie, so now we've discussed this episode, let's ponder the whole series so far and do some Postmon Pat reading. So first up, Postmon Pat, and this is from the YouTube version of the last episode. This is episode 10 of Ghost Game. First up, we have Twilord, who says, outside of nostalgia pandering, Frontier is what 2020 thought it was. A fantastic world-building tour. And I totally agree, like, I loved seeing the world-building in Colin, if anything else. Next, we have KG, who says they're not sure why exactly, probably the costume, but Tesla Jellymon reminds them of Cardcaptor Sakura, so they automatically love her. I also feel like, I never thought about that, but I also guess I got Cardcaptor Sakura vibes from Tesla Jellymon just a little bit. If Sakura's friend got, like, really terrifying in the costume making, I can totally see that.
Yeah, I can see that. It's actually making me come around on Tesla Jellymon's design, now that I think about it.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
It's still slightly horrifying with the flesh skirt.
Oh, yeah.
But
with the flesh skirt is horrifying, yes.
it is kind of a
But I
Tomoyo
kinda love
outfit,
it.
so I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. And then they say that they give the episode a 5 because they're basic Jellymon stan, and they fully acknowledge that. Next, we have Pastelmon, who says they loved the episode too. They were worried they wouldn't give Jellymon an evolution sequence, but they delivered. They agree with me and says that some episodes could really benefit from being 2 parts, and they're starting to like the evolution song, which has not been that present in the episodes. And they say they mean it is present in every evolution, but it sometimes literally only lasts for a second. And yeah, I wish I could hear it more, and I know that there's a full version on, I think it's on YouTube even now, and I should listen to that because it is pretty cool. Next, we have TGS, who says that the episode was another 5 out of 5, which, by the way, makes me really happy because after the recording last week, I was like, what is wrong with me? Maybe am I just too happy? Because I really loved it, so this is just validating that other people liked episode 10. So anyway, yeah, they say 5 out of 5. They thought that it was just a fun new evolution in episode of Digimon, and the fighting game being haunted was a fun science fiction idea for the show. And they liked them showing the heart between Jellymon and Kiyoshiro, since a lot of their partnership so far has been her teasing him. They don't mind the hero getting some focus as they are a team, but it leads to their only real lowlight, which is Ruri and Angoramon not doing much when they could have at least been helping Battlegamamon. And yeah, I get that, but I guess I kind of like how they're at least putting them as a team a little bit. Like, it's nice that they feel all like they're participating, except for this week's episode, which was Kiyoshiro was gaming, I guess, because he got over the fear of the rumor of killing him or something. Anyway, next we have Mystic Digital, who says they don't understand why Chloe and Quinn hated the episode so much, to each their own and all, but it was pretty fantastic. And again, thank you for validating me.
I'll give it a rewatch at some point. Because, yeah, I feel like I was maybe just a little grumpy last week.
Yeah, that could happen.
Yeah.
I'll give it a rewatch and
But, I mean,
might like it a bit better. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, or it could just be I'm just too joyous and everyone else is too joyous with me.
No.
Anyway,
it's the children who are wrong.
Yeah.
It's the children who are wrong. Anyway, yes. Next they say that they also disagree that there's no plot when we have Blacktailmon Uber roaming around, which is, by the way, I'm not sure if you caught that, but that is Blacktailmon Uber's is the name of the Blacktailmon. The one with the hoodie it's a special Digimon of its own. It's not just Blacktailmon, it's Blacktailmon Uber. And I never went to Uber Dover. I love it so much. Anyway. So, the mystery of evolution and Hero's missing father is always kind of there, plus Dracmon lurking in the background still. And then they said they also think that Ghost Game has been plenty spooky, Metal Phantom was terrifying, Saruman was pretty horrifying, losing your sense of time, being really unstable scares them, and being turned into alcohol, not exactly a fun experience, I bet, and they definitely still feel the spooky scary. And yeah, I'm glad they haven't stepped away from the spooky scary too much. I feel like, I still thought this week was scary because the idea of you walking alone in like a forest and then all of a sudden being threatened by death, that I would poop my pants. Like, that is horrifying.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have Seth, who said that they haven't watched a few episodes in a few weeks, so they're caught up, and they say they agree with me, they love this one. Then we have The Bleach, who says, while some episodes are weaker than others, they haven't disliked an episode yet. The interaction between the characters carry even the weaker episodes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah, I mean, there always will be weaker episodes in a series, but I think I do like every episode.
Yeah, and there have been some weaker episodes, but I don't think any, like, even the weak ones are still not bad.
Which is good.
Yep.
Then, lastly, we have Andrew, who says that maybe when they go to the digital world, there'll be longer arcs that are more than just the 20-minute episode, and I really, really hope so.
Yeah.
So, what are our thoughts about the series so far? If we have any additional thoughts that happened after this episode that we haven't really shared before? I'm still on the every episode should be 40 minutes train. That's where I am at the moment.
That's fair. I can't blame you. I had a question arise today about Kiyoshiro now confuses me because I can't quite get a grasp on where his like morality lies, because in this episode he was goody enough to not answer his phone on the train because the sign told him not to.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that part. That was great.
Yeah, and it was just, I was here for it because it was just him being a useless herb, and it was pretty funny. But also, like 5 or 6 episodes ago, he also illegally installed a lot of monitoring devices all around the city without anyone's consent.
Yeah, but that was different. No one told him he couldn't do that as part of being a dorm chief. In fact, apparently as dorm chief, he can know the passcodes to everyone's room.
That's true.
Or possibly just that guy's in particular.
It's just bizarre, like and it's not even that. What am I trying to say here? He seems to be like, a good, a good dorm leader shouldn't, answer their phone on the train, and I feel like it would not be a very hard jump to make to say a good dorm leader should not illegally spy on everyone without their consent.
I think I honestly think that his morality might be more, I don't know, is self-serving the right word? Like, if something benefits him, he can kind of bend his own morality?
So I'm not convinced that this not answering the phone thing was a moral decision so much as it was he's currently playing Japanese high school dress-up and enjoying that particular aspect of it, because it's not like he does homework or anything.
I suppose that's
maybe
fair.
It's like
it's all for some reason.
It's all how he's presented. He needs to be presenting as a good dorm leader.
Okay, yeah,
and
I
it's
suppose
what
that's
society sees him as. but no one
It's
knows
very
if
important to
he's
maintain the
installed.
Mr. Anderson persona.
Yeah,
Isn't
it's not
there
like he was
like
going
a-
around announcing, "Hey, I'm placing this device here."
Yeah.
Yeah, so
What's the word for it? I know it's a very Japanese thing of like, it's something face, something Carl. I can't remember, but it's your face that you show people in Japan, but it doesn't necessarily match how you're actually feeling, and I can't. And it's such like a vague thing. I'm gonna think of it like 2 a.m. I'm gonna wake up like jolting up, just screaming this word.
I think the
and
phrase you're
just-
looking for is "lady in the streets, but a freak in the sheets."
I mean, I guess that's.
I got a snort
I'm
out of
just gonna-
Quinn. I'll count that as a win.
Okay, I just googled facing faces Japanese, and
I'm sure that
Uh,
helped a lot.
it's like in Japanese you say you have 3 faces. The first face you show the world, the second face you show your closest friends and your family, and the third face you never show anyone.
Yep.
But I can't remember the actual word for it.
Nor
Couldn't
can
tell
I
you.
Okay,
you know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's a very it's a Japanese word, but I can't remember it. But that is okay. It's omete ura. That doesn't sound right. But anyway, the public and private faces. So it's a Japanese thing where you are very concerned about how everyone sees you, but it doesn't necessarily align with your beliefs as a person. Like the person you are at work is not necessarily the person you are.
You put on your customer
in real
service
life.
face equivalent, you know?
Yeah. So maybe that's why Kiyoshiro is like
Your
he
landlady
put up.
take out her garbage.
Yeah,
That would
he-
make sense.
He may be like because people can see you answer your phone, and he's like representing the school, and he's representing himself as the dorm leader. But if he answers the phone and has the phone ringing on public transport, that will have people thinking, "Oh, you're not a good dorm leader." But with the whole setting up security cameras, like all the
But see,
security, like the talismans and stuff, like nobody necessarily would find out that was him.
You're correct.
And it's something that he can do subtly.
I have a follow-up, though, because I also was going to talk about this just kind of as a tangent to that other point. But he didn't answer his phone, but he did just let it ring. And I feel like that's way ruder than like just silencing it or even answering it and then quietly having a conversation. Just letting the ringtone go, like,
but
oh my god, I would murder whoever did that on public transit.
But whenever I've seen people like just let their phone buzz in Japan on transit. I've seen people just hang up, like pick up their phone and quickly hang it up. But I have also had like heard vibrations sort of going off. But
Yeah,
again, maybe they
vibration
couldn't
is
hear
one
it.
thing, but he sure was just letting it ring.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, I see your point. But again, like it's like, oh, good, it's ringing, and people can see that I'm not answering it. I'm good.
Yeah, he's
Like
a herb.
that could also be.
It's posturing. Yeah, okay, I suppose that's fair.
But I mean, I still love his sort of. That's his reasoning for not coming along to the fight, and I kind of like that
didn't even
because
know about it, yeah.
yeah, because we're not having like if we just had Tesla Jellymon show up and fight, that we can't just have the talking solution giving aspect of the episode because it's just a fight. We have to kind of break up the characters a little bit. Chaos Gamamon maybe he's not a good fighter, but was able to fly them over to get there faster. But didn't really participate much in too much of a fight. It still was a talk. But if we had Tesla Jellymon show up, it would have been a fight and couldn't have been a talk. So, plot-wise for the episode, we didn't want to have too many adult Digimon fighting, so we have to kind of split them up a bit or give them a reason why they can't fight or they can't join in. And I guess that was this episode's reasoning, and I'm here for that.
To be honest, I hadn't given it that much thought, and now that you kind of break it down like that, I'm less into it. it killed the magic for me.
I mean, that's just how I interpreted it. That was why they had to give him like a reason in the script not to join in. And Digimon does have that quite a bit. Like,
that's
we
fair.
don't want to have all the characters evolve, and then we have to give them a reason why they aren't all evolving to fight the bad guy.
I would have
in
just
one
been
season.
like,
Yep.
I would have been perfectly happy with just being a consequence of Kiyoshiro's dumb personality quirks. But now that you mention it, it's like, oh, well, if Jellymon were there, then why would it would be a plot hole that Jellymon didn't just win the fight? And now I'm like, oh, it's not just because Kiyoshiro's a herb. Oh.
Oh, no, I mean, that is what they did. That's how they did it. So he is a herb, but he's like a plot convenient herb. But not plot convenient,
that's exactly
plot
it.
in terms of the
Yeah,
episode.
like his herbery serves a purpose, detracts from its herbery.
It should just exist on its own terms. I get that.
Yeah, but whatever.
Do we have any other thoughts about the series so far?
I don't think so.
No.
Let's talk about our predictions for next week's episode, which is called Chain Letter.
I'm so excited.
And the Digimon in the preview, the name in Japanese is Zasomon. Would you like to know what they called this Digimon in the English version? Because I feel like you will die of laughter. I'll give you a brief amount of time to predict this Digimon's name in English while I get a picture up to send you on Discord.
I have literally no idea.
Yeah, not really ringing a bell for me without a picture so far.
Okay, I'll send you a picture, and then I want you to say the first thing that comes into your mind when this photo comes through.
Eggplantmon. Or maybe Victory Bell.
Look at the head. Okay, I'm sending you through the name. Its name is Weedmon.
Not bad.
I knew it was going to be a Vegemon thing, but wow, Weedmon.
No, his name is Weedmon, and he dank.
Mm-hmm.
He is a dankety dank nug.
A dank nug.
It's just something that I love that so much. But yeah, that's the Mon of the week next week.
Got sticky purple hairs in this picture you sent me.
Really?
In what?
In the top picture.
Really? I do not see any purple
really,
there.
But there are random marks on... maybe that's just...
I think that's your screen.
I think that's your screen, Quinn. Because I'm just staring at it on both my phone, which is what I sent the photo on, and then I opened it.
Nothing happened.
Nope, that
Quinn
happened.
keeps her laptop screen very clean.
So clean it's purple. But yeah, so next week's episode looks pretty exciting. Looks like we're going with chain letters.
I'm so excited,
That is so cool.
This is the exact sort of premise that I expected when we started this series, and I'm honestly shocked it took this long for them to get around to doing this as a premise, but I'm so excited for it.
I never thought about them doing chain letters, but do chain letters even happen anymore?
Chain letters used to happen by mail.
Oh yeah, the VO being like, hey, have you ever received a chain letter? Actually, you probably received a chain email.
Even that anymore.
Yeah,
Who doesn't have that go direct to spam?
I miss chain letters that were if you don't forward this to 300 people right this second, there's gonna be a demon baby who comes into your house and kills everyone. Ah!
Yep.
That was the scariest thing to read when I was 11. Hey, I finally have internet in my home. Let's see. Oh, I've got an email. Wonder who it's from. You're gonna die.
Yep.
Yep. And that's it's exactly like the digital horror that I was kind of expecting when I thought that we were going to get a spookier Digimon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's it's just the perfect premise.
I feel like Jellymon should be the one doing chain letter though. That just seems like her thing.
That's fair. Who is this gonna star? I didn't pay that close of attention to the ending.
Weedmon.
Yeah, we didn't really see which protagonist is gonna tackle it.
Gotcha.
Kiyoshiro did seem prominent in the preview, so maybe Kiyoshiro?
Maybe,
Could be.
Also, I guess this is kind of something I should have said earlier, but for some reason I was surprised that episode 11, this week's episode, wasn't a Christmas episode.
Is there going to be one next week?
No, because it comes out on the 26th.
All right. Well, maybe that one will be the
Christmas
Christmas
one.
then.
I could see being Christmassy, but
although
right,
we already know that
Christmas.
it's going to be
It's chain letter.
Chain letter. Okay. Well, maybe it'll have a
letter's not
surprisingly Christmassy bend to it.
But I don't know why it
So
would if
here's
it's the day after Christmas.
Here's the connection back to Christmas. You get chain letters via forwards from Grandma, and Grandma is super into Christmas.
You need to forward all of your chain letters to Santa?
Yeah.
Chain letters are from Father Christmas originally. Everyone knows that.
Mm-hmm.
But do we have any other predictions for next week's episode?
I hope that...
0 references to Sinterklaas.
To what now?
Don't worry about it.
Okay. I really hope that in keeping with the like forwards from grandma vibe, someone's grandma is the one like trying to tell the kids that they need to do as the email says, or it's like something bad will happen, and they'll just like ignore her because it's just grandma being grandma, and like that's when trouble starts happening. I really hope that's what happens. The preview kind of made it look like just the act of it spreading was the bad thing happening, regardless of whether or not the person like does whatever it says in the email, but. I don't know. How it all goes down will depend a lot on the contents of the actual email, but I hope that there's some aspect of like it
spread by Ruki's grandma.
Yes. Yep, I'm here for it.
Yep.
The best character in all of Digimon, Ruki's grandma,
Yep.
and also followed closely by Oh No Man, or Caught Up Man. Alright everyone, so thanks for listening and watching us this week. You can join us next week for, as I said, episode 12, Chain Letter, which features Weedmon, which is pretty dank IMO. So the link dumps links in the description, and so is our Redbubble. You can contact us and stay updated. You can email us at LostinTranslationmon@gmail.com, or you can comment on this episode on our website, which is LostinTranslationmon.com, or on this episode on YouTube. You can also follow us at TranslationMon on Twitter, and you can follow us on Lost in Translation on Tumblr, Facebook, Instagram, and of course YouTube. I'm at Digimon_Hero on TikTok. That's Digimon_HIRO. And I stream occasionally, sometimes maybe, on twitch.tv/translationmon, which, yes, I still have left in the typo that has it as translationmon, which is not what it is. It is translationmon, not latonmon. Anyway, so you can chat with us on the Lost in Translation Mod Discord server, and I'm trying to get some coordinated Digimon Vital Bracelet raids going at the moment, so check that out. And we would appreciate if you review us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, and any other podcast app that you use, because apparently ratings assist people finding out about the podcast, and if I find the rating, I will read it out, but if not, point me in the direction of the review and I'll read it out on the show. And of course, you can donate to my Patreon, and that's linked in the description, from as little as $1 a month, and that gets you to the access to the Patreon-only areas of our Discord server, but there are higher levels, more rewards, such as unedited and early episodes, and more, so check that out. And thank you to our current supporters on Patreon, Joe, Stephen Reeves, who is Wild4 on Archive Our Own, Kadawashi, Chisai, who you can follow on Twitter at Chisai236, Neobu, who says you should follow Chisai on Twitter at Chisai236, Carl, Lizmet, who is a Lekmon on Tumblr, Nicholas, Sam, Emery from Gone While Hunting, a Hunter x Hunter Rewatch podcast, Magnus, Lucas, JCMon05, Patrick, Jason, Grey Tanuki, Jay, David, Shelby, Digital Hazard, who is on Twitch at The Digital Hazard, and Dedicated Ghazi. You can also make a one-off donation on PayPal, which can be found in the description. It's paypal.me/Airdramon, or you can donate to me on my Coffee account, which is ko-fi.com/Airdra. So, of course, thanks for listening, and thank you to Quinn and Chloe for joining me again this week. Where can we find y'all? Sleeping, because I had to go get my dog groomed at the usual recording time. But, so we had to do a little bit later, so it's bedtime. So, please thank my wonderful, wonderful co-hosts for joining me at a slightly worse time this week.
You're welcome.
Yay! But yeah, so let's finish this, and we'll see you on the next one, so Quinn and Chloe can go to Betty Buys. So we'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye!
Bye.